This is Adam Walton on BBC Radio Wales, and I think that record met the approval of our next guest on the programme. What if everything we knew about the world was a lie? Would we be able to perceive the truth if it was shown to us? Ancient civilizations, hyperdimensional realities, DNA changes, Bible conspiracies, which are true and which are deliberate disinformation? Laura Knight-Jadczyk says she has the real answers, and believe me, if you read a book, The Secret History of the World and How to Get Out Alive, you'll know that the truth is far weirder than fiction. And Laura joins us now from our Paris studio. Welcome to the programme, Laura.
Oh, well, hi. Thank you for having me.
Now, first and foremost, Norman Greenbaum's Spirit in the Sky. I believe you enjoyed that.
I love that song. It's one of my favorites.
Excellent. Well, I think we chose it especially for you, Laura. It's about as creative as we get on this programme sometimes. Now, I felt very, guarded really about using the term conspiracy theories. I wasn't really sure how to bracket your book, as it were. Do we need to be able to bracket your book, bracket your writings, be able to fit it into a genre or a pigeonhole?
Well, it's really very difficult. It's difficult for me because, for example, you refer to, say, conspiracy theories, and a theory is something that's based on a certain number of concrete observations or facts. You don't form a theory until you have collected facts and data. And if you'll notice, I've got 15-page bibliography in there, maybe 16-page, that includes the literature that I went through in order to collect the data that is included in the book. The book is heavily footnoted. It does not get into any kind of material that is not fact-based, and is just the interpretation of those facts that is somewhat different, because you can take the same facts and interpret them any numbers of ways, but generally what happens is people interpret facts and exclude some in favor of others because there are those inconvenient facts, what Charles Fort called the damned data. And the only kind of explanation you can come up with for this world that will make any sense is one that includes all of the damned data.
It's interesting that you should mention Charles Fort. We interviewed someone about him not so long ago on the programme, and of course he was another maverick. I mean, do you if I call you a maverick, is that a difficult or a title that you don't feel fits you particularly well?
Well, maverick is probably pretty good, because I definitely do not go along with the herd, and I don't even go along with the herd of the so-called alternative theorists.
Well, indeed, I've not had an opportunity to read the book myself, and I feel as though, I like to be able to do that, especially in these situations, because I feel as though the easiest thing to do whenever anyone propounds or expounds, theories that go against the grain and go against the norm is almost to pour scorn on them. In a situation like this, Laura, do you feel defensive? Have you gone through a lot of experiences where people aren't actually prepared to listen to what you've got to say and would more rather kind of pour scorn on you before they give you a chance to explain yourself?
Well, as I mentioned, I write some things that are counter to even the alternative theorists of today, so I get scorned by the scientific community to some extent. They have a little more difficulty actually scorning me than the alternative community, because I support what I say with so much data. But the alternative community, of course, it was quite a surprise to be so viciously attacked by those types of people, and also the so-called New Age community. And then, of course, naturally, the religion, the religionists, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, it doesn't matter, because they're all based on one single document, which is the Bible, and I pretty much dissect the Bible in this book and explain things in ways that are more comprehensible, and it's not even a new way of approaching this sort of semi-legendary, semi-mythical material. It's something that Mircea Eliade, a historian of religion, did many years ago, and I quote him extensively, as well as other historians of religion. So it's so I get attacked by people who are in religions, people in the New Age, people in the scientific community. Although, like I said, the scientific community pretty much leaves me alone.
Well, they appreciate the rigorousness of your work. By the
I
sound
have
of things.
I have a lot of scientists who are fans. Actually, some of them covertly. They will write fan mail to me, and ask me please not to reveal the fact that they enjoy my book so much.
It's funny, that's a lot of the correspondence I get doing this programme is along similar lines. I wonder why. Now, as far as the book itself is concerned, it is an attempt to, well, not an attempt, it rewrites human history. So it's difficult for me, as the interviewer, really to focus in on any one point where you could perhaps give the people listening an insight into the dramatically different way that you interpret the facts that you mentioned earlier. So is there perhaps a best part of history where we could start?
Well, the fundamental thesis of the book is that our reality is projected or embedded in a higher or hyperdimensional reality, and that what we perceive with our senses, the 3 dimensions of space and 4 dimensions of space and time, are not all there is, and that even when we try to measure things that come from these other realities with our limited 3-dimensional instrumentation, they fall short. You can't even go there. So that's the fundamental thesis. So taking history, taking the data that we have about human history, some of which is extremely mysterious, and some of which it's baffling. Some of it's very shocking. Putting it together, you begin to see a pattern, a flow of something that enters and exits our reality in a way that, if you're familiar with the story Flatland, where the plane being, where the fingertips are put on the plane, and what you see on a plane are round circles. And if the hand were to be put through a membrane, you would just see, circles going through until the hand actually coalesced into a larger object. But to the beings of the membrane, it would never be anything other than a circle that, appeared and disappeared in time. So, our reality is something like that, and that there are denizens of this other reality that are perceivable to some people through history, and down through history they've referred to them as gods or goddesses or forces, beings, whatever, and they ascribe to them powers, appearances, based upon how they read them. I don't think that they necessarily are amorphous either, and that's where the New Age community has completely gone astray, by thinking that anything outside of this reality must be amorphous, must be a spirit. It doesn't have to be a spirit at all. Just a slight shift in the dimensional reality, and you have a completely other reality that is as physical as our own.
Okay, now, Laura, from the point of view of the basic science really behind this, the idea of parallel universe is obviously one that's very common amongst physicists. I believe your husband is a well-renowned physicist,
yes,
as well. So, at least from that particular foundation, there would appear to be great scientific support for your theories. Why is there then resistance from all of the bodies that you mentioned, if this could, if this is almost explainable?
Well, as I said, people who are attached to their religion don't want a rational explanation for what happens. People who are attached to the New Age is really little more than a variation on the old standard religions. I just call it New Age fundamentalism. The scientific support that I get is really kind of unique, because it comes from odd and unusual places. And then there are of course many people in the scientific community who just reject it out of hand. I mean, there's one of my husband's colleagues who jokes that he does world-class mathematics on odd days and channels on even days. So we have an interesting life in that respect. So I think some of the rejection comes from some of the inspiration that I have used to follow these clues.
Okay, well, and obviously people have vested interests, don't they, in preserving their own version of the status quo. Now, you mentioned multiple realities. Why is it important for us as humans to try and question or determine a reality that's beyond our own? In other words, if we can't actually change other realities or change our own reality, Is there any point in making the voyage that you have, as it were?
Well, there's nothing that says that we can't change it if we know about it and understand it. You know, what you don't know can definitely hurt you, especially in this respect. One of the things that really got me going many years ago was that I would read these so-called conspiracy theories, and I would follow each theory as far as I could follow it, following a paper trail. And I always came up against a dead end. I mean, it was like you would take it as far as you could go, and then it was a dead end. It was like, okay, beyond this, there is a mystery.